And I would love for you to kind of walk us through the 4 caveats that you highlighted in your PDF.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as you say, the data going into ChatGPT, you need to be careful about what you feed it. OpenAI, as much as I like them as a company, has not been super forthcoming so far around how they are protecting data, which has led to things like Italy saying, no, we forbid anybody from using ChatGPT, in their space. So thinking about the privacy of your company's data, anything proprietary, anything deeply personal, you probably want to leave out of putting into these systems. Like anything on the internet, it can be hacked, and chances are it probably will be at some point. So thinking about the security of that information, especially like I work with organizations that have sensitive, personally identifiable information from people, and you don't want to include that information. Like if you're going to have an AI analyze any of that stuff, you better take steps to anonymize it to the extent that you can. Um, Also bear in mind that these large language models, these generative AI tools, are biased because they're based on the data that they look at that's there, and that includes racial, ethnic, sexual orientation biases, all of the worst things that make up humanity. In many cases, can end up influencing the AI algorithms that are in there. So bear that in mind, and you may need to apply correctives to these things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the interesting thing too about what you're highlighting, Todd, is that similar to when building a community, you have to be aware of bias. And so in these large language models, we're not pulling this information from thin air. Rather, it's this accumulation of information that is primarily created by other humans that are going to have biases baked into this. And so when you're seeing this at a large scale language model, it's important to keep in mind topics that you're asking it about and what the biases around that topic might have. So I know early on in those chat GPT days, like you were saying, there was a lot of bias around gender expression. And so just bear this in mind when you're working with the AI, especially for folks who are working in advocacy spaces or in spaces that you have a marginalized group, that it needs representation, just to make sure that you're not taking ChatGPT at its word and accidentally perpetuating a bias. So that's an important flag.